Hello, how's everybody doing? We're back with another quick chess tips video today. And I've kind of taken a break from the Endgame series that we've been doing on my most recent videos. So I'm going to return to that on this video here. And let me pull up the board for you guys. There we go. Now before we talked about king and pawn endgames, and typically just from glancing at the position, you're able to tell who is going to actually win the position, just because you can typically tell who's going to have the opposition just by having a quick glance, and you can tell if either side is going to be able to set up the drawing position or if they're going to lose. But there are some instances where it's a little bit more advanced, and what a quick glance often will not tell you who's going to win the position. And this position here is a very good example of that. If we follow the previous rules that I've told you about the distant opposition, then you would play king f2 here, right? Because again, we talked about connecting points, and here we would have these four connecting points, which would give white the distant opposition, which is a video that I've covered before. If you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and look at that one. But in this case, we'll see what happens if white does this. Black will play king g7 here. White will come up with king e3, and then king f6. And now if white plays either king e4 or king to f4, he's just going to play king e6. And we know this position here is a basic draw. So we'll go back to the starting position. Now we know that taking the distant opposition with king f2 does not give us a win. But sometimes you have to break some of the rules in order to achieve your goals. And we know that the goal in king and pawn positions like this is to get in front of your pawn. The winning side wants to get in front of his pawn. So white here wants to reach the d5 square. So, abandoning what we learned about the distant opposition, we have to find a way to get in front of our pawn. So we see that we move away from black king. Actually, it's a bit different than what we've learned, but king e2. So now after king g7, king d3, now we can see here after king f6, king c4, king e6, king c5, king d7, king d5, white's managed to get in front of his pawn, and white is winning here. So that's just one example of things that are a bit different. Now I'm going to show you another position here with the king on f8, e6, and d5. We know the rule that I gave you guys before was that if the stronger side king can get one square in front of the pawn, then it depends on who has the opposition as to who's going to win that game, right? Well, the exception to that, as we've learned, is the rook pawn, and if the pawn is on the 5th rank and the king is on the 6th rank, as in this position here. So, in most positions, if you can get your king in front of your pawn, like this, whoever has the opposition, it depends on who has the opposition as to who is going to win, right? But here, we'll see why it's different. You would think that black would be fine because he gets the opposition, but since the king is on the 6th rank, we'll see why that's not true. So king e8, d6, king d8, now d7. And now, typically in these positions, you would just drop back with the king, but obviously here he's on the 8th rank, he can't go back any further. So after king c7, king e7, black's going to have to resign. So there's two exceptions to that, to the rule that we've stated, which if the stronger side king gets one square in front of its pawn, the result of the game depends on who has the opposition. And the two exceptions are which the one we covered before, which is a rook pawn. We covered that already. And also the one I just showed you, where the pawn's on the 5th rank and the king is on the 6th rank. We saw how that's a win for the stronger side there. So those are just some quick tips, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it. And thanks for watching, guys.